With the spectacle of the games themselves, it's really easy to forget that the World Cup is the biggest media event in the world, with the viewership of the Men's World Cup finals regularly eclipsing both the Super Bowl and the Olympics opening and closing ceremonies. The event draws in billions of viewers on TV, and thousands more in person. But allowing ourselves to do that, to forget without a second thought regarding the politics behind all of this event is, at least in my view, it's a big mistake. An event as large as the World Cup allows Qatar, its host nation, to put on a display of soft power for the whole world to see. As the host of the World Cup, Qatar has been legitimized in the eyes of the world. And as the host of this world stage, this small Middle Eastern country has bought itself into becoming the center of the world's attention on the backs of slaves. Qatar shares the largest natural gas field in the world, and this is by and large the source of the country's massive wealth. Thanks to this oil and gas money, the Qatari government provides a welfare state to their population, free education, subsidized housing, jobs programs, even universal basic income is given to Qatari citizens. Now, I say Qatari citizens because that only makes up 11% of the country's population. The other 89% are migrant workers who do not share the same rights and benefits as the rest of the Qatari population. When Qatar won the bid to host the World Cup in 2010, they lacked the infrastructure required to be the host of this massive sporting event. They didn't have the hotels or the stadiums necessary to house all of these players and host these games. And so in order to build these stadiums and hotels, they ramp up their migrant labor program. Here's how it works. Upon arrival to Qatar, laborers immediately have to pay a recruitment fee of between $1,000 to $4,000. This means that the migrant workers begin their time in Qatar sacked with debt. They are coerced into signing contracts written in Arabic, which they cannot read. These contracts, they include stipulations like being unable to leave the employer without risk of jail time, and being forced to give up their passports, trapping them in the country. Migrant workers in Qatar are also subject to a system of apartheid that separates quote-unquote bachelors from the rest of the population, which is zoned for families. So the vast majority of cities are zoned in a way called family zoning, where unmarried migrant workers are unable to live in these family zones. And these working bachelors, as they're called, are ghettoed into isolated neighborhoods cut off from most of the city's public transportation. There's only one bus in and out of these ghettos, and that takes them to and from work every day. While not working, these bachelors are sequestered into tiny living quarters, along with 5 to 7 others per bedroom. The rooms are packed with bed bugs and are unfit for human living. While working, summer temps are up to 120 Fahrenheit. Treated like animals by their supervisors and subject to rampant wage theft, they protested. But these protests were cracked down upon by Qatari police, and, well, the organizers of these protests simply are unaccounted for. And rather than capitulate to protesters' demands, these protesters, being replaceable labor, were replaced. Now, working conditions aren't the only problem that Qatar has. The treatment of women and LGBTQ+ people is also a significant issue that needs to be addressed. In Qatar, women must obtain permission from either a husband or their father if they want to marry, study abroad on a government scholarship, work in government jobs, travel abroad, receive forms of reproductive health care, and to act as a child's primary guardian, even if they are divorced. Sex before marriage is illegal, and the draconian laws around this extend to women who report their assaults. Gay marriage and civil partnerships are illegal, and it's illegal to campaign for those rights. Furthermore, homosexuality is illegal and leads to jail time. Although some of these rules have been relaxed for the World Cup, gay couples still cannot openly show affection towards each other in the country's borders, even now, during the Cup. So I know what you're thinking, is what can we do about this? And not a whole lot, unfortunately, but what we can do is push our government to do something. The US extends its influence and control by building military bases around the world. Now, one of these bases is located in Qatar. We have 10,000 troops stationed in the Al Udeid Air Force Base in Doha. And in the past, this base was used to provide central command for our wars in the Middle East. Now, with those wars over, our continued presence in Qatar is just an endorsement of these policies, and it legitimizes their behavior.